The year 2025 hasn't exactly been a bright one. Between the economic uncertainty, rising political tension, and a world constantly at odds with itself, it's safe to say that reality has been feeling a little heavier than usual. The whole environment can feel a little suffocating at times. In times like these, it's nice to have a little escape, or maybe get a reality check, and that's where cinema comes in. Despite all the chaos, many filmmakers delivered a mix of spectacle, emotion, and raw storytelling that captured audiences across the globe. Some made us think, some made us dream, and a few just made us sit in stunned silence when the credits rolled. Welcome back to ONEMOVIE Studios. Today we're going to look back at this chaotic year and talk about some of the movies that had everyone talking. I will try to keep the videos as spoiler-free as possible, but still consider this a spoiler warning. Now before the year's over, let's get started.
Sir, do you know your last name?
Batman.
This I broke like Tony Montana.
We're talking about freedom, baby. We're talking about freedom.
It's safe to say that we are going through a sensitive period in history, and one of the biggest ongoing issues is extremism. Even if you're doing something good, extremism can lead you towards a darker outcome. That's exactly what Paul Thomas Anderson wanted the audience to learn after watching his latest film. The classic saying, "Art imitates life," perfectly sums up this movie. One battle after another is set across a divided and unstable America. The film follows a former radical living off the grid with his teenage daughter. However, when an old enemy reemerges, both are drawn into a dangerous cross-country chase that exposes long-hidden secrets, buried guilt, and the machinery of power that still governs their lives. It's always a pleasure to have talented people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn on our screens. Of course, credits go to Paul Thomas Anderson for his vision to bring this project together. The reality shown in the movie feels eerily close to what seems like a near future. It definitely serves as a beautiful wake-up call, which is why the movie had everyone talking despite not pulling off any crazy marketing stunts. Speaking about marketing, let's talk about a movie that definitely lived up to all the crazy marketing it did.
I climbed a mountain to get here, bro. Formula One. Back home, we call that a participation trophy.
Sports movies, if done right, can be the best source of motivation for anyone. We saw a lot of good sports movies this year, like The Smashing Machine. However, the movie that filled the entire world with adrenaline was F1. Joseph Kosinski is not afraid of adrenaline-pumping movies, as he has proved with Top Gun: Maverick in the past. However, it's safe to say this was his most ambitious project so far, and he didn't miss a beat. There's a lot going on for this movie. The sound design alone feels like a technical masterclass. The roaring engines that hit like thunder, mixed with quiet, intimate character moments that sneak up on you. It's about more than the race. It's about obsession, legacy, and the loneliness that comes when you're moving too fast for anyone to keep up. There's a brutal honesty to the way this film frames speed as both liberation and imprisonment. Every turn on the track mirrors the pressure. We all feel the pressure to keep going, to win, to prove something before the clock runs out. What makes F1 special is how it doesn't just entertain, it motivates you emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Even if you're not a fan of the sport itself, F1 is still an all-around amazing movie. It's one of those movies that gets your blood pumping when you're feeling gloomy. With that said, let's talk about our next movie, which gives a new meaning to the phrase, blood pumping.
I want you to swear to me and before this congregation to leave those sinning ways where they lie.
Set in 1930s Mississippi, the story follows twin brothers Elijah Smoke Moore and Elias Stack Moore, who return home after years in the criminal underworld. Determined to start fresh, they use stolen money to open a lively juke joint, a place where music, hope, and danger all mingle under the same roof. But as the nights grow longer and the music louder, something darker begins to surface. Buried secrets, old sins, and a force that refuses to stay dead. What starts as a dream of redemption slowly turns into a struggle for the brothers' souls, testing how far they'll go to escape the past and protect the people they love. Sinners is stylish, slow burning, and full of that signature Coogler energy. It has grounded characters, deep emotion, and a sense that every frame carries depth. And it couldn't have come at a more relevant time. In a world obsessed with moral high ground and public virtue, Sinners reminds us that everyone's hiding something, and that redemption, in the end, might just be the cruelest illusion of all.
Just for a few hours, it was free.
Michael B. Jordan delivers an outstanding performance, That's one of the reasons this movie became the talk of the town when it came out, and rightfully so. If you missed out on it, this is your sign to watch this modern horror classic. While we are on the topic of horror movies, why not discuss another one?
This story starts in my school. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. Well, not totally.
Blaming someone else seems to be the easiest solution to a problem. You feel a sense of relief without knowing the consequences it can have for someone else's life. We have seen this behavior increasing throughout the years. That's the starting point of this film as well. After 17 children from a single third-grade class mysteriously disappear overnight in the town of Maybrook, Pennsylvania, suspicion quickly falls on their teacher, Justine Gandy. She becomes the community's convenient target for blame. With little concrete evidence, panic and grief, Justine is suspended, vandalized, and alienated by parents and society, desperate for answers rather than accountability. Weapons prove that not all horror movies are created equally. It follows a non-linear format for storytelling, which was really refreshing to see. That's probably one of the reasons so many people were discussing this movie even months after its release. The film is the perfect example of conveying deep social messages without spoon-feeding. It's shocking, honest, and frightening, and that's what every good horror movie needs. However, not everything has been dark and gloomy this year. We have had some reasons to look up, and one of those reasons is the next movie.
I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared, I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, but that is being human.
Look up, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's... As I said at the beginning, 2025 hasn't been the brightest year. And just when the year started to feel emotionally draining, this movie arrived like sunlight through a storm. After years of cynical blockbusters and gray-toned heroes, Superman felt like the first real moment of cinematic hope in a long time. It reminded audiences that optimism doesn't have to be naive. It can be powerful. And that goodness, in the right hands, can still move people. What this film got right, what it finally understood, was that Superman isn't about strength. He's about hope. He's not powerful because he can lift planets. He's powerful because he chooses not to destroy them. Instead of showing a god among men, this Superman is just a man trying to deserve that title. The film doesn't try to reinvent him, it rehumanizes him. It shows that kindness isn't weakness, it's rebellion. And that's why it worked. Not because of nostalgia, or fan service, or spectacle, but because it made people feel something they hadn't in a while. Hope. It reminded us that maybe, just maybe, we still want to believe in something good. In a year where everyone's fighting for the last word, Superman gave us the first smile. 2025 might not go down as the happiest year, but it might just go down as one of the most honest years in cinema, because when the world feels fractured, movies become our reflection, and sometimes, our escape. This year's stories weren't about heroes or villains. They were about survival, redemption, and rediscovering meaning in the noise. From the despair of one battle after another, to the feverish obsession of F1, to the moral reckoning of sinners and weapons, and finally the light of Superman, these films mapped the emotional landscape of an entire generation. And maybe that's why everyone was talking about them, because in a world falling apart, these films quietly reminded us that we still care, we still feel, we still hope. And maybe that's what makes 2025, despite everything, a year worth remembering. Thanks for watching ONEMOVIE Studios. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe. I would love to hear about your favorite movie from this year, or what movies you're excited about in 2026. I will see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.